what's going on. Contrarian. Okay. And there I am. Trading Fibonacci numbers. How to adjust. Oh, that sounds very interesting. We'll check that out. Alrighty. Here we go again. TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and for some of those, it's evening and already heading out of the week into Saturday already. So let's see what they're doing here. Let's see. Where's the sound at? Do we have the sound? Why don't I have sound here? Oh, there we go. There's sound. There it is. Okay, so I was looking at cable there for a second. Yes, cable stayed in a daily buy, and euro went into a daily sell, and I can see the weakness in the cable a little bit there, at least, right there, and then there, as you can see, the daily, you can see this product rolling over. Let's drop that. Hey, Daniel, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to the hood. Welcome into the hood. It's Friday. Friday, fun day. So, let's see what's going on. I caveat everything now for like the next 3-4 weeks. Markets are thin. It's summertime. Things are, positions will, they'll buy stuff and then they'll take profits a few days later if it goes higher. I think it's just that's the type of market we're in right now. So, excellent. Good to hear that things are moving along smoothly. Things are good. And that's where we are. I think, you're doing good. I'm doing good. And I think that the markets and these money managers are running around like chickens with their heads off. I think that they really have issues. I don't think they have a real clarity. Maybe because of their manifesto that they have to sign. When they take the money in, they have to say how they're going to use the money. And without a doubt, fundamental trading has been, I guess as we would say around here, it's been out of the barn for a long time. And it's out of the barnyard and literally out past the pasture somewhere at this point. It's gone far, far away. Fundamentals are a real hindrance. And when you incorporate as a fund, you have to follow the manifesto that you incorporated with. And you lay out, a good 80 or 90%, if not more, of your strategy. So if you're not doing some of that strategy, people will sue you. It doesn't matter if you're making money or not. They'll sue you anyway. That's part of the American sport. So, it's a market that's really not making a lot of sense at times. You can see that, first of all, the world has been shut down. Then you have, they try to use fundamentals like as if it's going to stay shut down now for like the next 6 years or something of that nature. And obviously not. It's not going to stay shut down for the next 6 years. And so you have this big sell-off of 33%, and you have a market that comes roaring back in a V formation, taking a little bit longer term over a 7 and 8 week period. And some products have not come back at all, like the Russell 2000 or, the Zetra DAX or, I'm trying to think what else do we have here. Let's take a look at the Zetra DAX. Things like that. You can see that the currencies, they weren't even sure what to do, what to make of the whole action over the last 3 or 4 months. You can see that they've been kind of, jumping around, but not necessarily being as organized as the equities have been. You don't see this type of here's the top. Well, in this case here, in the currencies, like there's the Zetra DAX, and it's like the S&P 500, whereas the Tech 100 or the Nasdaq 100, whatever you want to refer to it as, I like the Tech myself. The Tech index here, that is made new all-time highs, because everybody's using Apple, especially being locked, or a society that's more cybernetic, in internet than it is anything else at this moment in time. So why wouldn't Cisco look better? Why wouldn't Amazon look better? Why wouldn't Apple look better? Apple Computer makes a good computer, and not counting its tablets and laptops and telephones. And obviously the telephone, they're the number one telephone manufacturer in the world. So communications, most of the younger generation are more into the text. Some of the older is into voice. Zoom has taken up that. In other words, there's a lot of logic to all this, why that indice is all the way up to the top and why it's not letting go. Search engines are being used more. People are watching movies and Netflix more, things like that, And so, it makes sense for this index to be at all-time highs. It is what was I calling it before all this disaster? I was referring to it as the millennial index. Not a generational index, but the new millennia. It was representing the growth in our technological society, and it was the first stages of a truly cybernetic form of highway. When I was young, I tried to create an internet index, back in the late 80s, I guess early 90s, and I got one of the exchanges to support it, and the Securities Exchange Commission even gave me a symbol. It was WAY for highway, and we knew, and we had I was emulating it like the S&P 500, where it had a bunch of different sectors. So we had like networking, and we had manufacturing, and then we had retail service. Had all that, and and so I can relate to this enormously since I had developed a indice for the internet back in I guess it would be the early 90s now, the Securities Exchange Commission actually gave me a symbol, and they approved of the way we were lining it up. But then that exchange decided that they didn't have anybody who could afford to trade it, and so they dodged it. And I was really sad because I wanted to trade it, and I was going to be the specialist in it. And my partner, the chairman of the exchange, could not get it past the committee, so they were afraid that it was going to be too powerful. So I have no problem relating to this USA Tech Index because I developed something just like it and had 6 or 7 different sectors. Cisco is the networkers and the wireless networkers, and I had it all. I have all the documentation to this day, still saved it all. So anyway, that's where we are. So then we go back to the currency pairs and try to make some sense out of what we're seeing from the equities. In other words, it's like you're always trying to interpret and understand how things are moving, what they're doing, what the mechanics are. So in this case here, you go back to the euro right there, and you can see, going back to that same time period, it's come back to that area. But before it happened, it was here. Then they sold it down. Then it roared back up, sold it down, and back up again. And now we've kind of fallen back into that shelf or that channel that where it was beforehand, and a little bit firmer. And this is the distortion right here of it. Now we go and look at the quant, and there's the Chicago quant chart. Is that the euro? Let me just double check. And so let's see. That doesn't look like the euro price wise. Let's see who you are. Okay, so that's the New Zealand against the dollar. So let's put the euro in there, right there, like that. And you can see that it went into a daily sell yesterday. Oh, we didn't put our little red line in there. Let's move that over. And it's already trying to get back into the daily buy, as you can see right there. So not much of an exciting day, just a sideways channel to a summer market. You can see we are flirting with the weekly sell right there. So there's a good chance this thing will find its way. There's a missing body. Where you been hiding? Must have included Electronic Arts. It did. Yes, it did. Intel, Microsoft. That was the chip manufacturers, Intel, and the software. Microsoft was in two or three sectors: the main index and software provider, and Cisco was in the wireless in the main index. Dell. Did I have Dell in there? That's a good question. I'm not. I think I had a hardware sector. I think you're right. I had a hardware sector, and the Dell was in the hardware sector, and it may have also been in the chip sector also at the same time. But or the main. It was probably, and then I guess it was like my top 50. I'll have to break it out and bring it on one day just for the interest of it all. It's sitting in another room right now. I know where it's at, and Compact. Yeah, Compact was in there because it was part of the networking because they had bought digital equipment and Applied Materials. Yep, that was in the chip manufacturing side of it. And matter of fact, we referred to it as on ramps and off ramps. So we looked at it, we laid it out as a highway, and then we labeled different sectors like on ramp, off ramp, a rest station, things like that. We really, made it a highway. I think I had seven sectors. I think it was 7 sectors. So like you have an on ramp, you have an off ramp, you have the highway, right? You have that's 5 right there, and then there was like this rest station, supplying certain necessities to the different sectors, and then there was the main index. And what I did is I invented the reason why the Securities Exchange Commission went with it is I invented a hedging process for it so that it could have liquidity. It was related to the volume of the stock, how it traded in volume, and so they could move stocks could move from sector to sector, depending on what they provided. And I think Corning Glass was in there, because of the fiber optics. So NVD did well. It went up. Not sure if it's related to cryptos. Usually it is. The cryptos themselves, if you've noticed. Let's see, where is it at right here? Cryptos are really sloppy right now. Let's see if we can slide this down a little bit. So you got the Bitcoin 3 weeks in a sell and 2 days in a buy, and it's trying to top out. So let's see. I think we can put that up there. I've not been happy with the way this chart is looking. There's Bitcoin, and you can see now it's okay. So yes, it did finally settle in the sell. Okay, when I get trouble with this doing it too fast, So you can see there it fell into the sell there. Sometimes I do it before the settlement, and I get in trouble. So that should be, instead of a 2 now, it should be a 1 like that. Overall, the Bitcoin is not exactly, it's been sticking around that 9,000 to 10,000 range. Seems like they're going after the lower end of it. Did you get burned by World.com? No, that was a lender, I think, right? No, no, I didn't get involved. Matter of fact, I did the opposite. I did really well. I did a AT&T Southern Bell, I think it was, something like that. I did a spread against the 2 wireless. So WorldCom, I was short WorldCom and long AT&T in the $8 or $9 area, and WorldCom went to 0, and AT&T actually went up a little bit. So that was a real win there. God, I haven't thought about that in a long while. Yeah. Same thing with the math picked up has picked up a couple of them, of the major disasters. Enron, I think I've mentioned it here before. I was like 23 weeks in a weekly sell in Enron, from the high 60s down to like the mid 30s or mid 40s, low 40s, high 30s, something like that. And I kind of remember going into a weekly buy for about a week or two, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that, and then went into another weekly sell, and the stock went down from like, I want to say like 46 to like 17 or 14, and then it went into a weekly buy for 1 week, and then it went into a weekly sell again, and it disappeared altogether. Bell South, that's what it was. Yeah, it was Bell South. Because I was looking at the two strongest, or the strongest phone provider, cell phone provider versus WorldCom. Exactly. Yeah, it was Bell South, which is now AT&T because they bought it. So, no, the math keeps us pretty honest all the time. In other words, it removes a quantitative analysis is so much more ahead of the fundamentals all the time, because price always precedes news. Someone inside always knows what's happening, so because of that, the market is always influenced by price action, and the price action, the math picks up the price action and tells me, like the Bitcoin there, you see it now 2 days in a daily sell. Yesterday it goes into sell. You see it again lower today. Someone knew that they're in there, they're going to sell some of it. Just like right here, where it goes into the buy. Right here it goes into the buy, and the price action goes up. Same thing here. Now this is a good one. You see it goes into the sell here, goes the wrong direction, refuses to get into a buy, and there's a major gap from it to here to there. Okay, it's always that way. It's always that way. Money always, the price action always reflects the insider trading. I've talked to the CFTC and other idiot organizations. Then the Securities Exchange Commission, they don't listen. I keep on saying to them, there's front runners out there. Go look at this. Go look at that. You'll be able to see the front runner. You'll know who they are. They don't care. Especially now in the days of illiquidity. Oh, they are not going to chase anybody out of the market. You have to be incredibly blatant before they will. So, price always precedes. We see it here. Same thing. Only this is a much more liquid product. It goes into the buy here. And the product has a natural tendency to go up. It even stays above the time manifold. And then when it starts to break down below the time manifold, that's what that line is there, the golden line there. You can start to see it topping out, makes another thrust up, and then before you know it, when you combine the white line and the histogram again, and it goes minus. Is it there? And that it's this one there. And you can see it goes in the sell here. The pressure is on. It finds a way to go down. Not much. Especially being in a weekly buy, not much. Then it goes back in. I think the weekly buy is right there, but we had a green and red dot. So you can't buy the close of it or the end of the day of it. And what you need to do is you need to wait about 6-7 hours and then step in and buy. And so then you get that, and it doesn't last long at all. And you see there's that 8.5 out of 10, right? And then you get into the sell. You can see it goes sideways down. And then finally, gets back into a buy here. You see the whatever strength you want to call that. And now you can see here we're in a sell, and they'll find a way to push it sideways. How you making out with your synthetic long? Your synthetic long should be doing all right. Is the decay of the two long calls being compensated by the put sell? Not counting your delta situation. You put it on, it was right around here to begin with, so your delta should not be affecting you, at all. Let's see. Let's drift over to cable, and there's cable there. Let's put it up on J4X. And and see what they're doing with it there. Trying to roll over a little bit there. But this seems to be acting a little bit stronger. It's going to be curious. Okay, look at that. The quant is showing that it's below the weekly sell number already. So that pressure is on there. Going in and out, I'm almost sideways. Yeah, that's the way it should be. Now, if we get into a weekly sell with the euro, my recommendation is to, pick up a few more puts. Let's see. No, sell call. Let's see. You're long the put. So sell some calls up above. Turn it into bull spread. So turn the call side into a bull spread. Ride the put on the downside. Yeah, that's what it should be. Sideways, since it's the delta that's keeping you sideways. You put it on right around here. In the 1270, 13 something area. 1320 area. And that's where we are now, right? Let's go back to J4X and find Mr. and Mrs. Euro. Right there. Yeah, you put it on somewhere in this area here, I believe it was. So, worst case scenario is you put it on in the 1340s, so you're not that far off the hunt. So if you sell some calls against your long calls, and we go into a weekly sell, it would kind of insinuate that you would want to be a little more hedged and sell some calls, and you could go and sell some puts if you want to at the same time against your long put. And then so now you're like in this straddle. And then what happens is that when we get back into like a more active market over the next 3 weeks or so, then you take off the calls that you sold and take off the put that you sold and go back into your synthetic short again, as long as we're in a weekly sell. That's how you do that. That's what I refer to as plus gamma trading. I remember my senior partner used to say to me, "What is plus gamma trading?" This is gamma, right? And so you have the potential on both sides. It's a This is why don't you call it a straddle? Because we are making them synthetic. You'd be like, okay. They're synthetic. So plus gamma minus gamma. All right. Where we go from here? Let's see what they're doing with Turkish lira. That thing is, I don't. Saw another strange geopolitical story about it. I don't even understand. It's like as if they gave up the currency. Did they sell their currency to somebody? Don't they represent themselves anymore? I'm not sure. I'm really confused on that. Wow. This might push it into a weekly sell. This is wild. So yeah, you can see, look at that crazy flat line. I don't know what's going on there. Boy, talk about summertime madness, This is one of the stranger things. Look at between April and May, they had a little flat line like that, but not like this. And I think we went back yesterday and looked over a bunch, 3 or 4 years, and still didn't see anything as exotic as that. Oh, nice, Robin. That sounds good. Quant away. U.S. Turkish lira is sitting in a weird range. I know. It's blowing my mind now for 5, 6, 7 days. I talk about it every day. It shakes my head. I don't know. It looked like it tried to do that, I guess. Is that what you think? You think it breaks out above 88 and boom, it starts to go wild again? It's almost like somebody's on vacation, and so they turned the currency off, and they said, we'll get, when August comes around, the middle of August, maybe we'll get going again. Honestly, it looks like somebody turned it off, like as if it's not participating, and who knows, maybe, but it's slowly going up. Yeah, true. Maybe what it comes down to is that their imports and exports are just very minimal at the moment. I'm just trying to figure out on a fundamental side of it, That's the way it looks to me. can they turn off their imports and exports like that? It's a big country. Maybe they can be. Maybe they've been fighting to be productive on their own. So maybe they've turned off some import export side of it that normally influences the currency. I don't know how you do it. I mean, honestly, I don't know how you do it. But I mean, that's what it looks like, which makes no sense whatsoever. I'm sure the story will come out. You know, we'll hear a story, I don't know, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, or whatever it'll be. And they'll finally explain the odd pattern. How would they shadow peg it? It sounds neat. Would they? Where would they get the equity? Don't they have to have some type of big basket of money to shadow peg it? See, that's the thing, is I don't know if they have that much resources. Is someone plowing resources into their country right now that we don't realize? Is it Iran? You know what I mean? I would go with the latter. Yeah, traders have gone away. I mean, maybe there's 2 or 3 major traders that trade this product, and they've gone away. But then that would also connote that they've found a way to remove the supply and demand. You know, in other words, someone. I mean, how much? I wonder what their import and export looks like, and if it really reflects an enormously lower number right now because of all that, and maybe they don't need it. Maybe they get enough oil, from Syria and Iran and so forth, that they don't, and Iraq. Maybe they get enough oil that they don't have to import any oil. So that's a big number out of the way, right? And then, food. This is their growing season, right? So maybe they're growing enough food to feed everybody. Yeah, but I agree with you. That's the first thing I think too, is that the traders have gone away because it's so artificial looking. But maybe it's more than just that. Maybe they're becoming self-reliant in some way, and so they don't need to go. I mean, look at that's the Was it the dollar? Yeah, the Chinese yuan trades like this. It's flatlined like that, and then so like literally, a pip looks like a 10 pip move. So a 10 pip move looks like a 100 pip move in the Chinese yuan. So, I guess maybe they've come up with some way of reducing their need for imports. Maybe they're trading goods for goods. In other words, when they export, they take in. Instead of using currency, they're using the product itself. Something's going on. It's obvious that something has gone on. They've gone flatline. And it reminds me of the Chinese yuan. And the Chinese yuan, it's not less than 1% of it trades as world currency. So, they obviously found a way to go Chinese. It's better to look at bips, percentage points, like 10%, meaning the equivalent of 10 pips. Well, in that case, it's almost like zero. It's moving. I mean, when you really think of it as a where is it, 6.87 currency, and so 3 pips is almost nothing. It's almost irrelevant. But they measure it differently with the yuan. You ever see that? I mean, it's a 7, and they treat it differently. Really odd situation there too. I don't know. Maybe I think could this be the tip of an iceberg of some type of new currency trading that we're not seeing? Import. Remember, currencies are traded mainly for import and export, and I guess Turkey and China are in odd situations at the moment when it comes to the normal market conditions. So I hear you there. All right. we're going to drift from it. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if a month and a half from now, or 2 weeks from now, or 5 weeks, or 9 weeks from now, we hear the final story about all this. How they figured a way to do imports and exports without currency anymore. And that literally could be what's going on. They're trading ships full of this versus ships full of that. And then it's just domestic. And so then people use the currency domestically. I mean, if like I said, China's currency is less than 1% of world trade. So, I mean, this is obviously moving in the same category. All right. Let's head over to Canadian. You can see the fluctuation that's going back and forth with that. There it is right there. You see it's just zigzagging. Goes into a sell. Now couldn't get into the buy because it was red and green, but now if this line gets back up through the plus with that plus, then it can go back into the buy again. It's kind of zigging and zagging, going nowhere. It just kind of reflects the inaction of the marketplace itself. You can see there on J4X, same situation. Sideways, little firmness because of the up candles there. But you see the white line is not breaking through the rate of change. Let's see. 6.87 is yearly. R2 pivot could mean technically something. It might consolidate there and then go down. Anyway, back to CAD. No, I hear you. I think it's telling us more, and I'm not sure what, though. It's very clear something's going on. Now, the question is, what if, here, let's throw a scenario out there with that. Honestly, it's something to really think about. Have they come up with some type of Chinese concept? Where's it at? Let's go to J4X again and put it up there. Are we going to see, is this the beginning of some change in currency trading? I kind of doubt it. It may be a primitive level of currency trading in the sense that Turkey doesn't really produce a lot of things the world is asking for. I'm sure they have some major export that the world clamors for, but it's not like they're manufacturing airplanes and automobiles and computers and so forth and so on for export. Now they may have domestic operations just like the Chinese where they manufacture their own and everybody uses them, so you have to use currency to import them because they already manufacture them. Could Aragon been working towards this all along, and look where they put the currency to it, Yeah, I'm that zigzagging thing going on right there. That's there's the Canadian. That zigzagging that's going on with the Canadian is just, to me, is just a liquid market. That's it. There's no interest. Now, I would think, because we went into a daily sell, I think we did, yeah. Right here. Oil went into a daily sell yesterday. I would think that what we're looking at here is that the product should be weak, going down. But it's not. It seems to be firm at the moment. Now, you can see on the J4X, the white line, the fast-moving stochastic, is very chill. Underneath, trapped in between the slow stochastic and the rate of change. So it's more of not doing anything. And then let's take a look at the oil. Right there. Now it looks like oil is up for the day. Or it's just trying to go up. That's what it's trying to lift up. And you can see the J4X, it's knocking itself down with the fast stochastic and breaking through the slow stochastic. And the rate of change has been dead, which is interesting since the product is trading at 5-month highs. The rate of change is buried down at the low end of the range. Let's put that in. Let's go to the quant and look at that. Ramba combo. See, Daniel says, let's get rid of that. Some advertisement jumped in front of it. If Canadian holds the 35 area, it might go up. Otherwise, continue down. You mean if it doesn't go up, it'll go down? Okay, that makes sense. Oil touched monthly pivot exactly at 38.54 and then went up. Yeah, I'm I thought that the best that has a chance of is the 35s. So we'll see. So it'll probably test that pivot and then see if it holds. If it breaks the pivot, then I guess you're going to get that 30. You were the one looking for the 500 pip in something? Wasn't it you, Daniel? You were saying a couple days ago you were hoping to find something to catch a 500 pip move. I still think oil is one of the better ones for it. And you can see there, and we're getting ready to move out of the August. As a matter of fact, I think next week we move into the September contract. And you can see there it's, went into the sell, but it's not really doing anything. Just like this is not doing anything with it. This whole, no, not me. Who was that? Well, maybe it was Kristen. That was Kristen. I think he was saying that. He was looking for the 500 pip move in something. I told him I thought it was stock market or the oil market and the grain market. Oh, no, silver. Silver market. Matter of fact, where's silver today? Looks like it's up again. It's heading for that 19 still. Yes, I took the 19 out in the high. It's off a little bit today, but coming back. You see this stuff is looking really firm here. And a nice solid move. Look how tight it is. It's building and building and building. And then let's take a peek at it through the J4X. No, that is the J4X. Through the quant. So let's see what Chicago Quant's got on its menu. It's now today it's flirting with the daily sell. I don't know how long that'll last, but yeah, it's flirting with it. It's hanging in there on the buy, and there must be so much inventory above. They've pushed this product down into the 12s and 13s and 14s. There's got to be a lot of inventory sitting there at 20. What's your pivot on the silver? Do you do that? Yeah, I really think silver wants to break out. Robin's totally convinced he's seen the pattern about $1.50 ago, $2 ago. He sees that pattern. It's trying to go on the upside. And it has. It's gone up a couple bucks. And I think because of the distortion where it fell all the way down to 1171, I have to, in my head, I think that the range up top will be broken solely because of that, because they pushed it too far south. So in other words, inventory is needed. Yeah. I think it's going to see that 2010. I think it's going to break through the 20s. I really think it wants to go up into the mid to low 20s, 23 to 25, something like that. Just because of the 1171. How they traded down to 1171 in a panic. That there's got to be inventory that got sold down there that needs to be recouped. So they're probably nibbling away at it all the time. You just got to figure that sooner or later they're going to be pressured to drive it higher. Now 25 is an incredibly strong area. They have not been able to lift it past that area in a while. Let's take a look at that. Let's look at the silver in a monthly period. I just got an idea in my head. See, that's why I like talking with traders like yourselves. It ends up instigating ideas. I'm putting a monthly chart up. I want to see what the old range was, the old tops before 2007. So, where's my glasses? It's around here somewhere. And they took out the Hunt Brothers stuff, right? So, you can see here. What is that? That's a 20. See, that's 23, right? right there, like 23. That one, that little top right there. Um, I kind of think that it wants to go back to that range. I don't know if it's going to survive much or build a base up there, but I think it wants to go back to that 23 to 25 area. It just has that, that panic just says to me that it's going to do it. That's where my head's at. 22.5 is a R2 yearly, and a 25.5 is an R3 yearly. Yeah, that would make sense. So I think it's going to land between the two of those. I think that I think it's going to do something like that. It just has that look to it. And Robin's a big silver fan for a long time. He trades silver, so he sees it as he saw the triangle formation, and it reflected it, and he got it. It's gone about $2 since he's seen the formation. So I just think that there's a lot of inventory above it. So I guess that's about all we can say about that. Let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. Gold since we're there. And that seems to have locked itself in that above the 18s, which is really interesting. Yesterday they had a red and green going. Yeah, right there. But it's still holding up. It is a much more orderly product. You can see that. I mean, it's been in a daily buy since there. What's that all about? Since the 17s, 1736. It's been in a weekly buy since that area. 1725, 17 something, 27. So it's been a pretty good move, but silver is actually outperforming it, which is very impressive. Let's see. Oh yeah, I like those. Those cloud formations on the monthly has a breakout and a bottom from 2012, and it's around $25, $26. Yeah, that would make sense to me. That silver really has that look. I think it. You gotta imagine what happens when it gets to like 20 and a half or 20 and a quarter, and then they bring it down to like 1975 or 1960. And it gets back up over the 20s again. Then you got to figure that's when they make the breakout. Or they just squeeze the daylights out of whoever they're squeezing, and it gets into the 20s and then doesn't let go, and all of a sudden you're at 23 to 25. It'll be interesting to see which action comes. Which one will it do? That's the fun part. Which one will it do? And here's the gold there. That's a monthly. So we're playing with these tops here in gold right now. See that on J4X? Right there. We're playing with that. And this is very orderly and very tight. So, just like it was here as it climbed. Same type of thing. Orderly and tight. And we're like one of the only currencies in the world that gold is not trading at all-time highs. See, gold has R1 month of 1820, R2 of 1860, and R3 of 1840. R3 minimum 1860. I think gold has a top this year at 1920. That would not surprise me. That seems like very easy to make it to. That will. I wonder how much the only thing I'm thinking about is, will the central bank allow that thing to get up into the 19? Because that will panic people. A $1,900 gold will panic people. So that's why I think you're seeing that war here. I mean, look at that. No sellers over the last, 15 days? 16 days now, right? What is that? 16 days. So we're on our 17th day in a buy. So that means that they are not willing to sell it. That's for sure. The buyers are in there buying each day. And, I'm sure we'll see one of those insanities where someone comes in to sell 50,000 contracts in a 2-minute period, and it'll drive it down, and then everybody will stand back because they're afraid that another 50,000 will come in after that. So I think the central bank is going to hold that as down as much as possible, because I don't think they want to see the metals market reflect any more strength than it can. because there's a lot of money managers that stare at that thing, and they stare at gold just like they look at the bond backwardization, or the the contango, or bonds in general on the the path, the 30-year, 10-year, 7-year, 5-year, 2 and 3 year, and then 1 year, and then 3 month, and then 1 month. They look at all those, and they stare at them, and they stare at them hard. That's that fundamental. That's one of the only fundamentals they have now left, is that type of stuff. Let's see. I just got texted from somebody. Who's texted me here? Let's see. They're asking about Tesla. It was announced 4 or 5. Let's see. Last Friday. Let's see if I spelled announced right. So it's been pushing the stock up. There we are. Yeah, Tesla's going into the S&P 500. So that's oh, there you go. Yeah, here, and what are we looking at? We're looking at gold. Yeah, I'm the only thing that I have apprehension for is what the central bank's going to do. And every time this thing starts to get some wild legs, someone comes in and sells 50,000 or 60,000 contracts in like a minute, and drives the thing down and sets a whole new range up. So that's remember, as much as everybody here says, Fed spending money, they're really lending money most of the time. But when they go and sell gold, they're spending money. Because what they do is their surrogate sells the 50,000 and it drives the market down. And then what happens is that they slowly accumulate it back and take the loss so that they can adjust the range. They front run it all with options and so forth ahead of time. So, it's a real game that's going on there with the metals in the United States. We're the world reserve currency, and I guess the thing is that we're supposed to keep our currency strong with gold. I guess that's the logic of it all. That keeps money in the funds and money managers calm, thinking that we're not going into some hyperinflation, or the world is coming to an end in a calamity, or some old-fashioned idea, that type of thing. So that's the only thing that always sits in the back of my mind. And you got to figure they'll spread against silver that way. They'll sell the hell out of silver, and so silver being allowed to get back up to the 20 is pretty impressive. Because the central banks do their best to keep it pounded, pushed down. So, all right. Let's see. Where do we go from here? Let's say what we got there. That's an interesting one. I see. Okay. Let's go over to. Anybody want to see any particular currency at the moment? I mean, you can see how this has been going on, and we looked at the tech right there. We've seen how the stocks are acting. Just that's a monthly. Just ripping to the moon. Now, obviously, when we go into a daily, still ripping to the moon. I wish this was up higher with the fast-moving stochastic. But it is still tight. It's still, I guess it's tight. Not as tight as the other products we've seen. This thing doesn't need it. Again, if the world society is going to be in a lockdown, these stocks are the ones that are going to be bought. I mean, they're needed. I mean, they are needed for a society that is more cybernetic. You know, more internet and more internet uh, connected. So let's see what else have we got going on here. Let's see. Fed apparently listens to Trump lately. I don't know if they what they say in public and what they do in private is totally all over the place. GBP AUD, please. Let's check that out. GBP AUD. Which one do we follow? We follow the GBP Japanese yen, right? Right there. And didn't we put this on there? Let's see. What do we have down below on one of those? Oh, it's AUDJPY. That's what it is. So, oh, there it is right there. We've looked at that before for you, too. Let's see what's going on with that product. So, well, it's pushing up pretty well. It looks good, too. Look at that. The way they've been pushing it up for the last 3 or 4 days. That's not bad at all. There's definitely some good firmness in that. Now let's go take a look at it through the Chicago Quant. Let's see. Where's it at? It would be in that one. GBP AUD. There's one GBP right there. Go to the attached ones. GBP JPY. Right there. GBP AUD there. There it is. So it's flirting with the weekly right there. And I'm not sure what we were talking about here. I forget. We were relating to something at the time. I don't remember what it was. We were relating to something, though. We were comparing it in action. And I went into the buy there. Then it went back into the... Let's do this. Then it went into the sell right at the end of the box. Whatever we were talking about. Oop, wrong spot. Remove. Whatever we were talking about, it generated it right at the end of the box there. So it went into the sell there for 1 day, if not 2. Let's widen that a little bit. Yeah, 1 day, and went right back into the buy again. Right there again. Interesting product. What's that? GBP and what? AUD? Oh, AUD. Interesting. You're long from 179.20. Well, it's pushing hard. It needs to get up a little bit higher. That'll get into the weekly buy. Right now, where's it trading at? 181 and change. Okay. 181.53. That's not bad. So, looking all right. And, oh, wait, you can't see what I've been looking at. There it is. Sorry about that, traders. There you go. And so whatever these boxes were, whatever we were doing with the boxes, let's see, I just got a text from somewhere. Working. Well, there we go. So, that whatever that was. Here, let me show you. You're not seeing it now because I'd widened it out. What were we talking about? We must have been talking about something. I put an oval here last time we looked at this chart, and so you can see it. I don't know what we were looking at. Do you remember what we were talking about at the time with that? Since you're trading it? Let's see. Long from it is the limit to sell where I have problem thinking 185. Okay, might retest 83.84. We talked about 17-week sell. Oh, is that what that was? Okay. Okay. So it must have been in a long buy then too. Let's see. Let's scrunch that up. Not that long a buy. Went into the buy here after 5 weeks, and then fell into a sell 1 week, and then went right back into it again for another 5 weeks. So 11 weeks total out of 12. Then went into a sell. So now it's been what, 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 weeks going on 13. So, I mean, you're in the long in the right spot, that's for sure. I mean, 13 weeks in a sell, you got to assume it's going to try to lift its head back up. That makes sense. And I know I must have come up with something doing the oval and then doing the square box or the rectangle. There must have been something we were looking at there. It seems very orderly, doesn't it? The product itself has that orderly thing going on. Does it connect with the how's the GP? Let's take a look at GBP JPY. That's pretty orderly like that too. That's what was making me thinking about that. That's pretty orderly also, isn't it? No, that's more actively traded. Okay, so that's ebbing and flowing a lot more. Goes into a sell. Takes a while to get back into that buy up in here. Look at that. Does it right there. But mainly it goes down in the sideways. Goes into a sell again and then jumps back into a buy and then makes all the money that it lost here. And then now it's still going to go into a weekly sell this week. So I don't, to me, both of them, the obviously the GBP AUD seems to be way more orderly. Right there. That seems way more orderly. And I guess, see, that's Australia, right? Yeah, so I mean, they have a lot of imports and exports. I guess they're really locked in with the... up top is dailies, and the bottom is weeklies. Let's just double check that, but I think that's how that is, isn't it? Yeah, daily and weekly. Let's see. Yeah, so that's definitely just the way we thought it was going to be. Close. Where's my mouse here? Let's see. Cool. Nice. How did I not? No. There we are. So I guess as long as we're seeing that, seeing that this action here, let's see what J4X shows us. The same thing. Just keep an eye on J4X. I mean, look at these two things. These things are like kissing each other. The rate of change is roaring up with it. Sometimes that's very curious, the way the rate of change works. That's where it seems to be right now. It seems to be, I don't know, that seems to be the action of it all. Interesting. Very interesting. Fun webinar today. It was a relaxing one. It's a Friday, It seems like there's not much to be said. Always willing to talk about anything. So, I guess we can just say we talked about gold and silver today. Today was a big gold and silver day, when you say that. And GBP, so we'll label it that way too. So we'll label it under both of those, like, gold, silver, and GBP AUD for anybody who's looking for those products, because that is something. I mean, how many people are really doing technical analysis on those products? There's no doubt about it. The exotics, the smaller pairs trades, are the places to be anymore. You know, I remember Wheeze, you know, starting to talk about the, you know, the different pairs trades and the exotics, and you know, without a doubt, it's a better place. It can be a better place in many ways. It cuts out a lot of noise, and that's probably like the best play of all. Let's see, is it a slash? Slash. No, we got that wrong. Backspace, back. Let's make it a capital too. GBP, and we'll put like a colon in there or something like that. Like that. And then AUD. Is that gold, silver, and GBP AUD? I think that's a goodie. All right, let's see what else we got. Daniel says, "What's the next one?" 12:30 UTC Monday. Yeah, 12. Yes, yes. All right, guys. Everybody have a safe and smart weekend, and we will catch you on the flip side on Monday. Everybody, be smart, be safe. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all my trading